What are you nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and the first ever book nerdigan video is finally here, and that is discussion-wise, and that is the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan, and what it is about. And I'm doing all three. I'm gonna just give my thoughts about all three books in this video. Basically, what this book is about, it takes place in the Percy Jackson universe. And instead of in Manhattan, where the the Greek gods are, they are in Brooklyn, which I thought was cool at the end of the series. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling this. At the end of the series, that they mentioned, Sadie's mom mentions the other gods, and it is hinted. And I think it was in the second book, the Kane Chronicles, that there was I think Carter saw Percy flying on Blackjack at one point. And I was just like, oh my god, it's Percy! Percy's flying on the Pegasus. That's so cool! But anyway, what this book is about is, it's basically Percy Jackson, but instead of Greek mythology, it's Egyptian mythology. And what I like about it is it's not their demigods, they are Egyptian magicians, which is pretty badass. And in order to be a magician, you have to have the blood of the pharaohs running through your veins. And I liked what Rick Riordan did with this book, because with the series in general, because he had a set of recordings, and I don't think he did that for Percy Jackson, which I thought was really cool and really different, because I like that aspect. I liked Sadie more than Carter, to be honest, and because Carter ended up loosening up. He was like really tight. he was really wound up at the start of the series in the Red Pyramid, but by the end of the series, he was totally loose. He was wearing baggy clothes and everything like that, and I was just like, okay, he's more like a kid, and that's cool. The first thing I thought of as I was reading, especially the second book, I was thinking, this is Dumbledore's army. No freaking duh, this is Dumbledore's army, especially when Amos had to go to the first gnome to get treated because he was possessed by Set. And I was just like, yeah, this is totally Harry Potter meets Percy Jackson. Totally. But with Egyptian gods. I liked the god interactions a lot more, because they were a lot more. Yeah, having a god as your parent is personal, like really personal, but like the gods in Percy Jackson, they didn't really interact with their children, and that was a problem at the end of Percy Jackson, and that's why Percy made that deal of what he wanted as his reward for the Titan Wars, for the gods to interact more with their kids. But this one, like they're following the path of the gods, which I think is cool. The magicians, and what happens is that, the magicians of the House of Life, which is where all the magicians are from, basically lost their way with the path of the gods because it got out of control, and I guess that's what led to the fall of Egypt. And another thing that I thought was cool was, I think it was in the second book or the third book, I can't remember, because keep in mind, this is January 22nd. I finished reading this series like a little bit after New Year's, so sorry if I'm a little forgetful. And there was a scene where they went to a pyramid. I think it was in Alexandria. I think they were in Alexandria, or they were trying to find. They were in this trying to find this lost tomb, and they were trying to find. I think this is when Carter was trying to find Zia. That's what was going on. Carter was still trying to find Zia, and I think he was with Bess. And Bess couldn't. He was either with Bess or he was with Walt. No, he was with Walt. That's right. He was with Walt, and Bess was with. No, Bess wasn't in this picture. That's right, because Bess lost his shadow. That's right. This was after Bess lost his shadow, and they were trying to find a way to get Apophis' shadow, how to capture it, and also how to capture Bess's shadow, because Bess, in the second book, when they were trying to awaken Ra, like near the end, Bess sacrificed his soul, and they found out in the third book that they could, and this is how they capture Apophis, is to get the shadow, and I thought that was cool. But speaking of Bess, Bess is like the coolest god ever. I love him. He is the dwarf god of awesomeness. I love him. I love that he's just in his Speedo and he says boots. Oh, I love him. I felt bad for him too because of Bass kind of playing with his emotions, but he did get, you know, his happiness at the end, and I was really happy with that. But poor Bass. But Bass, Karma's kind of a bitch here in Bass. I've got to say that my favorite god is the top, close between Set and Bess. Even though Set, you're probably thinking Batgirl, Set is the god of chaos, and I don't like anti-heroes, okay? Give me a break. Heroes are overrated. Heroes are totally overrated. But I like Set. I like the part at the end of the series when they're battling Apophis and Amos has his mind merged with Set, power merged with Set, and Set is, and he's wearing like this red pimp suit, and he has like the braids, the cornrows, and I keep thinking he probably has a grill in his mouth. He's just a pimp. Set has Amos dressed up as a red pimp, and I'm laughing as I'm reading this. I was like, wow. But I thought that was crazy that Zia not only possessed the water god, Nephthys, I think her name was. If I pronounced her name wrong, I'm sorry. Or was it Nefertiti? I can't remember. But when she was possessed by her first, like it was kind of killing her because he is a fire user, and then afterwards she ends up being possessed by Ra. And I remember reading Carter's reaction to finding out that his girlfriend was Ra, and Ra's voice was coming out of her mouth. That was so funny. And another thing was, I mentioned the old folks home. I gotta mention the old folks home again. The old folks home is fucking awesome because I loved it because you had Ra just kind of losing his mind when they first got him, and he was like gumming on everything, and he was saying zebras and Wally. I was like, Ra, you're such a riot. The other gods weren't so sure, but I liked at the end that Ra did say, because Ra ended up, you know, through Zia getting his power back and saying that they need to get, what was it? That Horus needed to be on the throne. That's just how it was, because it was kind of living situations. Another character that's really important in this series, and he comes back into play later on. I hope, and this will be mentioned in the Percy Jackson Kane Chronicles crossover book Nerdigan video. I don't know if I'll do it with Floods of Olympus or not. It just depends on how long the video is. Is Setney, that bastard. Setney is such an asshole. I mean, like, he totally played everybody. He's like the Clancy of the series. And if you don't know who Clancy is, read the Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. I had to say it because I just finished In the Afterlight and I loved it. And there will be a video on that too really soon. Hopefully I can do it today, but I don't know. But anyway, I enjoyed the Kane Chronicles a lot. I wouldn't say they're better than Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson, I think, is better. I'll tell you my opinions on Heroes of Olympus in the next book Nerdigan video. So please, I would love to hear what you think about this book, especially hashtag, or wonderful couples of hashtag salts and hashtag, what did I have the couple for Carter and Zia? Cartia, hashtag Cartia. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. So, please like, share, comment, say what your favorite moments of the Kane Chronicles were. This is some of my favorite moments. I want to know your opinions of this series. I loved it, even though it took me a little bit to get into it, and that's just what happens with new series for me. It takes me a little bit to get into the first book, but then when I reread it, I just like blow right through it. So until next time, and make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, Follow me on Twitter to see the progress I am on my book Nerdigan updates, because I'm trying to see if I can meet the 365 book challenge. Even though a lot of my books will be rereads, I'm still going to count them because I'm going to make videos for you guys on them to get those hidden gems out there. So, yes, until the next Book Nerdigan video, which will be the Heroes of Olympus series, books 1 through 4, and then I will have a separate one for Bloods of Olympus. Until next time, book on.